Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me now. I know this video is going to be a bit different because this is going to be me talking about like what's going to happen in the Flash comics. Now, if you're like me and you've been keeping up with the Flash Rebirth comics, then hopefully this interview with the writer, Joshua Williamson, is hopefully going to get you excited. I really hope it does. Because I am. I mean, I've been loving the Flash. I've been loving the recent run of the Flash comics. Um, if you don't know, the Flash is my favorite hero. I've always loved the Flash. More specifically, I love the Barry Allen Flash. Barry Allen has always been my Flash. I absolutely love this character, and I've been loving the recent the recent Flash the recent Flash run, of course, penned by Joshua Williamson. And here we have an interview that took place at San Diego Comic Con 2019, which just recently ended, um, at least as of the recording of this video. Um, and here, Joshua Williamson does tell us more about what's to come in his run of the Flash comics. So without prolonging this anymore, let's continue. This is coming to us from the Beat. I'll leave a link to this in the description in case you want to go check this out for yourself. Okay, so with that said, let's get started. And this was posted by Louis Ladd, Louis Had, excuse me, Louis Ladd. Okay, interesting. Okay, let's go. Okay, Joshua Williams has been a busy man, not even mentioning his other writing in DC Comics. He's been cranking out Flash comics for years now. Has these 75 issues in his story. Is currently in an excellent year one arc. Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, the Flash year one just concluded with issue 75. And by the way, I guess I should let you know this will contain spoilers for the recent run of Flash comics. So if you're not up to date with what's going on, then I highly recommend not getting into this video. I highly recommend you go read because if you love the Flash like I do, I would recommend you go read it. Because from what I've read of this, I didn't read the entire interview, but from what I read about this before I started recording, is this is going to include spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, then please leave the video, go read the recent run, catch up, and then come back and let me know in the comment section what you guys think about the recent run of Flash comics. And with that being said, let's continue. All right, let's see this. You've written a lot of Flash comics. How many is it now? And this is from Joshua Williamson. Issue 75 comes out next week. This must be before 75 came out. I have written 85 issues in total. Okay, interesting. I've written a lot of Flash comics, yeah, and I'm not done. Okay, so he has more. It's crazy. Every time I start to feel, even for a moment, like I'm winding down, I'm like, no, I can feel it. That's either Barry or certain villains. There's a lot of bits and pieces of the Flash mythology I want to touch on. Okay, which is good. It's good that. By the way, I like this because, um, he's like he himself actually wants to keep going. Like he's not being forced to keep writing these stories that he doesn't want to tell, and I like this. I this actually gives me a bit of hope for the uh, the recent run of the Flash comics. One of my things that I don't want to leave the book. I don't want to leave the book ever. I think he's maybe joking on that. Although maybe he's serious. Who knows? I want to make sure I get to touch every little thing I can possibly do. There are characters that are in the mythology, Flash mythology. I want to make sure I get to write. I have like a bucket list on the book. On the book, there was a moment around, I think when I was writing an issue in the early 20s, and there was a brief conversation about if I was going to leave around like number 43 or not. And I did the math in my head, and I was like, nope, not ready. Which is, it's good because, I mean, we're in issue 75, so obviously, obviously he still has more. I had so many more stories to tell, and that's how I still feel about it now that I've written 85 issues. Okay, this is interesting. So 10 more issues after this, which is good. You know, it gives us something to look forward to. I have so much stuff that I want to do, so I'm gonna be on it for a bit. Okay. And Lad writes, with Tom King leaving back, I think you're the last original Rebirth writer. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. I mean, you guys, you have to think about this. The line of DC Rebirth stories started all the way back in 2016. It's mid 2019 now, so it's been like 3.5 years by now. Well, depending on exactly when the line, we know it's in 2016, but not specifically when. So, it. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to believe that it started like three. I can't believe it's been 3 years. And yeah, Josh Williamson is probably the last one from the original line of DC Rebirth stories, like the original writer for Superman. He's not writing it anymore. I think it's Brian Bendis now. he's the one writing. He's the one writing the current run of Superman comics. Tom King, who started writing the Batman, uh, now he's leaving. So yeah, Josh Williamson really is going to be the last one. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know who they're gonna bring after him, but I mean, I've gotten so used to his run of comics. It's gonna be weird. Okay. Did you think you'd did you think you'd be the last man standing, or was this a surprise? I knew I would probably be matching Tom. I thought Tom would have stayed all the way through, but no. And you know, really, when I pitched the book, my initial pitch was for 12 issues. Okay, that's interesting. Excuse me. This is a story I have to tell, but I have all kinds of ideas, so I'll see what happens. So the fact that I got past 12 issues has been surprising, and I'm like, okay, we did it. All right, we're doing it. We're doing it. Let's keep going. But I mean, now I feel like I have a lot of ideas for it. You know, I have a lot of things I want to do, and so I do feel like I'll be the last man standing when it comes to Rebirth. But I did not expect it in the beginning. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, nothing ever goes the way you expect it to. It's true. So you've never had the feeling that you're starting to run out of ideas? No, and I've seen a lot of those subplots, a lot of D plots throughout the book. There's a lot. In number 75, there's a moment where Barry basically rebuilds the Flash Museum, and then he's like, I have all these challenges coming at me, and there's 6 panels. Yeah, if you, again, this is what I meant by spoilers. If you haven't read the very latest issue number 75, this does have a lot of spoilers. So in one page, there were like 6 panels, and I know what he's talking about. There were like 6 panels that sort of indicate on what's going to happen, like all the challenges that Barry's going to face in the future. So, which did make me excited, and a lot of things we like. If you've been keeping up, a lot of them were like conclusions to stories that have been set up before that we were kind of waiting to see, like how it was going to conclude. And he even says right here, they're all things we've already set up, and they're planning on concluding it, which is good. They're all things we've been building, and I think that represents the idea that if you've been paying attention to the book from issue one, which I have, there's questions we haven't answered throughout. Yes, yes, a lot of questions you still haven't answered, and we're still waiting for them. And by the time you get to 75, I'm literally telling you there are 6 challenges coming his way. Yes, yes, there are. Actually, 7 when you count Captain Cole. And if you've been keeping up with the news, you know what he's talking about. Here are the 7 challenges that are still out there in the world that are coming his way. That should show you I do have a lot more to go, and it's all stuff we've been building with. Okay. And then the interviewer proceeds to ask, Barry Allen is unique in that he was off the board for so long. Yes, his story wrapped in the mid '80s, and he didn't come back until all the way in 2008. Vucoletto and Venditti each wrote around 20 to 30 issues, but you've written more Barry Allen than anyone has in a long time. That is true. I do have the run in the longest run in modern comics, basically post Crisis. I've written more Flash issues than almost anyone. Jeff Johns and Mark Waid are a little ahead of me. Yes, that is also true, but only if you, but only broken up. but they both wrote Wally. So yeah, nobody with it's true. They both wrote the Wally West Flash when Wally West took up the mantle of the Flash after Barry Allen, we all know, gave up his life on Crisis on Infinite Earth to stop the Anti Monitor's machine from destroying the multiverse. And then who knows more about Barry Allen than you? I don't think anybody at this point. I mean, maybe Jeff. Yeah, I mean Jeff Johns does know. Like the guy does know a lot about DC Comics and his characters. And it's funny, Jeff and Mark wrote Wally, but they both love Barry, so they know a lot about him too. You know, I mean, listen, if I sat down with Mark Waid and we had a contest, I know Mark would win. Literally, you can show Mark Waid the cover of a comic, like a Superman comic or a Flash comic. You can cover the number, and he can tell it to you every time. Jeez, every time. And Carrie Bates wrote that book for like 10 years, so I'll never be able to beat Carrie Bates. Is there something specific about the character that makes you want to stick around? I think about Barry Allen every day. Yeah, every day, and I have a lot of stories to tell with him. It's interesting coming onto a character that so many people know, but not only know, they all know him well. They all think they know who he is. So when I got the job, everyone was telling me this is who Barry Allen is. This is who Barry Allen is. It made me really think about a lot. If I was Barry and everyone's telling me constantly who I am, I mean, how weird would that be? And also putting you on a pedestal, Jesus. You represent hope and optimism in the universe. Good luck with that, Jesus. Yeah, no pressure. How intimidating is that, right? Uh, you're just this nerdy dude. You're this nerdy science guy, and yeah, you're hopeful. You try to be an optimistic person, but no, you are the spirit of those things. You know what I mean? Like people really come at you. It's a lot to live up to. Here's the thing about Barry Bear was to live up to, and I think that's the difference. Yeah, he sees the pedestal. He sees it as something ahead of him, but he wants to be that person. Okay, see, yeah, it's true. I mean, I know people like to give Barry crap for, Flashpoint because of what happened to Flashpoint, because he ended up literally changing everything. And what happened with Wally now is kind of his fault, but I mean, you can't really blame him. Well, you can, but you understand why. Now, does that necessarily forgive it? No, but I mean, you can kind of understand it. Sorry about that. You've been doing some great work with Iris too. How is it? How is it? How is what you're doing with Iris different than what Brian Michael Bendis and Greg Rucka are doing with Lois Lane? I think about that a lot. That's yeah. I mean, look. The truth is, I just a bit of context. I am actually not. That's the one thing I will admit. Like, I'm not a fan of how Iris West was handled in the story. Like, especially recently after Barry found out about what happened with Wally and the Heroes in Crisis. So sorry, spoilers for that if you haven't read it. Um, but I already told you from the beginning this was going to include spoilers. But basically, what happens is like Wally West dies. Although afterwards we find out that no, he didn't. Um, and basically, Barry went to tell Iris what happened. That basically she lost Wally again. Although afterwards we found out that Wally isn't dead; he's alive. Although the one thing I'm still like looking forward to is like they still haven't shown us that whether or not Barry knows that Wally's still alive. Like I don't know if they're going to cover that in the future. I mean, I hope they do. I hope Josh Williamson mentions it at least because it would be a shame. Like I do want to see how Barry and Iris specifically react to the fact that Wally is still alive and that he basically tricked everyone into thinking that he was dead. I mean, I feel like that would be a missed opportunity if they don't at least cover it. So let's continue. She wants to make everyone's stories so she doesn't ever want to be the story. Ever. I think there's a part of Lois and Rucka may come in and tell me I'm wrong. I think that Lois sometimes also kind of wants to be the story at least a bit, but Iris doesn't want that. I think she really genuinely wants to make sure that other people's stories are told. That's part of the difference to me. One of is titled "That's Called the Life Story of the Flash." It's written in character as if Iris wrote the book. So if you read that, you get this crazy insight into Iris, and that's the Iris that I write. It's the Iris from that story. You get to see her point of view on herself, her story, her character. You have a character who's always searching for a home and can never find one. She's in a conflict of slow and fast. She doesn't ever want to slow down, and she doesn't want to always get too fast. That's Barry, and I think just sitting down and meeting someone like Barry Allen, he grounds her and she grounds him. So I'm getting to play with that. I really like writing Iris. Her point of view on Barry is one of my favorite parts of the book. Hear her talking, and it's when I give her a real look. Anyway, look, I'm gonna stop it right here. I feel like this video is already getting too long. Again, I'll leave a link to the entire interview if you want to read it for yourself. But basically, I mean, this already gets me. This already just gets me more and more excited for the future of the Flash comic. But anyway, that's all. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe. It will really help the channel. Please share this video with anyone who you think might be interested. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.